In the annals of war, some heroes stand tall, their names etched in history. But what if the greatest hero of all remained a ghost? A man of shadows, whose audacious deception reshaped the fate of Europe, yet whose story remained untold for decades. This is the incredible saga of a double agent, a master of psychological warfare, who saved countless lives and ensured the success of the most pivotal invasion in history, all while convincing the enemy he was one of their own. His name was Juan Pujol García, codenamed Garbo, and his cunning defied imagination. The year is 1940. Europe is engulfed in the fires of World War II. Hitler's seemingly unstoppable war machine has swept across the continent, crushing nations underfoot. Britain stands alone, a solitary bastion against tyranny. The stakes could not be higher. If the Allied forces are to have any hope of victory, they must mount an invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe. But such an operation would be the most complex and perilous undertaking in military history, requiring an unprecedented level of secrecy and, crucially, deception. Amidst this global conflict, a quiet Spaniard, Juan Pujol García, watched with growing horror. Haunted by the brutalities of both fascists and communists during the Spanish Civil War, Pujol harbored a burning hatred for totalitarianism. He decided, with unwavering conviction, that he must contribute to the Allied cause. He possessed no military training, no intelligence experience, only a fierce intellect and an unshakable belief that he could help defeat Hitler. Pujol's initial attempts to offer his services to the British intelligence were met with polite rejection. A civilian, without connections or credentials, seemed utterly implausible as a spy. But Pujol was not deterred. If the British wouldn't take him, he would create his own entry point. He conceived a daring plan: to become a German spy first, then betray them to the British. A perilous game of double-cross, born out of sheer audacity. In 1941, Pujol, using his charm and anti-British sentiments, all feigned, of course, successfully convinced German intelligence in Madrid that he was a fervent Nazi sympathizer. They assigned him the codename Arabelle and tasked him with establishing a spy network in Britain. The Germans supplied him with a secret ink, a code book, and a hefty sum of money. A civilian had just become Hitler's man in Britain without ever setting foot on British soil. From Lisbon, Pujol began to transmit a stream of seemingly credible intelligence to the Germans, all fabricated using public sources like tourist guides, railway timetables, and film newsreels. He concocted an entire network of sub-agents: a disgruntled airline pilot, a nationalist Welshman, a Gibraltar dock worker, each with a unique backstory, each providing a piece of the elaborate lie. He became a master storyteller, weaving a tapestry of deceit from thin air. Meanwhile, British intelligence, particularly MI5, noticed the incoming German reports from Arabelle. They were confused. The intelligence was plausible, yet their own counter-espionage measures showed no sign of such a network operating. Eventually, they stumbled upon Pujol's persistent attempts to contact them. Intrigued by the anomaly, they realized they had a potential asset, or a dangerous lunatic, on their hands. His unique approach had finally caught their attention. In April 1942, Pujol finally arrived in Britain. British intelligence, recognizing his extraordinary talent for deception, took him on. They christened him Garbo, after Greta Garbo, for his acting abilities. Under the expert guidance of MI5 officer Thomas Harris, Garbo's fictional network expanded. He was no longer just deceiving the Germans. He was doing so with the full, strategic backing of the Allies, turning a personal vendetta into a crucial wartime operation. Garbo's genius lay in his ability to deliver information that was both convincing and ultimately harmless. He would send crucial, time-sensitive intelligence, but always with a delay or an excuse. A message about an Allied convoy, for instance, would arrive after the convoy had safely passed. This reinforced German trust in him, while ensuring no real damage was done. His explanations for delays were always ingenious: a sick sub-agent, a faulty radio, a lost pigeon. As D-Day approached, the monumental invasion of Normandy, Garbo's role became paramount. He was central to Operation Fortitude, the Allied plan to convince Hitler that the real invasion would happen elsewhere, primarily at Pas-de-Calais, the shortest distance across the English Channel. This required not just subtle lies, but a monumental, orchestrated deception that would tie up German forces far from the true landing zones. Garbo and his handlers created the first United States Army group, Fusag, a phantom army stationed in southeast England, replete with inflatable tanks, fake airfields, and detailed radio traffic. Garbo's network flooded German intelligence with reports detailing Fusag's readiness to invade Pas-de-Calais. He described troop movements, logistical preparations, and even social observations of American soldiers in the region, all pointing to a massive, impending attack. The brilliance of Fortitude and Garbo's execution lay in its thoroughness. Hitler himself became convinced that Pas-de-Calais was the primary target, believing Normandy to be a feint. Garbo's reports were so detailed and consistent, corroborated by other fake intelligence channels, that they solidified German high command's conviction. They diverted vital panzer divisions and infantry away from Normandy, awaiting the real invasion that would never come. On June 6, 1944, as Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, the deception was put to its ultimate test. Garbo continued to send urgent dispatches, emphasizing that the Normandy landings were merely a diversion. He even apologized for being unable to warn them sooner, claiming his agents were caught off guard by the feint. His reports ensured that German reserves, particularly their powerful tank divisions, remained frozen at Pas-de-Calais for days. The impact of Garbo's deception cannot be overstated. By convincing Hitler to hold back vital forces, he drastically reduced Allied casualties during the critical opening days of the Normandy invasion. Historians estimate that his work saved tens of thousands of lives, potentially altering the entire trajectory of the war. Without Operation Fortitude, D-Day could have been a catastrophic failure, Europe's liberation indefinitely postponed. For his extraordinary service, Juan Pujol García received both the Iron Cross from the Germans, who still believed him loyal, and the MBE from the British. He is the only person to receive decorations from both sides during World War II. After the war, fearing Nazi retaliation, Garbo faked his own death and vanished into obscurity, living a quiet life in Venezuela for decades, his true identity and heroic deeds known only to a select few. For nearly 40 years, the double agent who saved Europe remained a secret. It wasn't until the 1980s, when historians began to uncover the full extent of Operation Fortitude, that Garbo's incredible story came to light. He was eventually found alive and well in Venezuela, a humble chicken farmer. His clandestine life, his unparalleled bravery, and his immense contribution to victory were finally, belatedly, recognized by the world. Juan Pujol García, Garbo, stands as a testament to the fact that heroism comes in many forms. Not with a sword or a uniform, but with a brilliant mind and an unwavering will. His was a silent war, fought with words and deception, yet its impact reverberated across battlefields and through history. He was the ultimate trickster, the spy who saved Europe, and whose story, once whispered in the shadows, now shines as one of the most remarkable tales of espionage the world has ever known. His legacy reminds us that sometimes the greatest battles are won not with bullets, but with belief,